If you had to give the Blazers and Cronin a grade for this trade deadline, what would you give them?
Drew has always been kind of a ball stopper, kind of a hucker, and kind of made bad decisions offensively. That's how he's always been as a player.
For anyone who's, in the dark or doesn't understand why people are harder on Shaedon, why we're harder on Shaedon, that's why. That right there is why. Everything around us right now is crumbling in the West. Eight and below is just begging to be taken. I feel so supremely confident that we are locked into the play-in just based on the fact that we are in it at this moment. All right, Brad, we are 4 minutes past the NBA trade deadline. We'll give Shams one more chance to let us know if the Blazers did anything. And we don't have Giannis. It is official.
We don't have Giannis. Wait, you're saying we didn't get Giannis?
We didn't get to everyone's surprise, we didn't get Giannis.
I feel like Shams is hiding something. That's my prediction. That's gonna be there's gonna be a Avengers style
flashback
post trade deadline epilogue where it's Giannis walking into the Moda Center and dapping up every single person who works for the organization.
It's Shams' last clip. Yeah, it's the preview to the off season. Is what Shams a cinematic masterpiece. But no, it was just Vit Krecji. That is, unless something comes in after here, which sometimes it does a little residual news. It could be the case for the very small news we were looking for today to make room for someone, but it looks like all that the Blazers did is get Vit Krecji.
What if it's by the way, that Luka trade from last year meant to be with the Blazers?
There was a typo.
It was a typo. And everyone, even the Lakers, bought it and started Luka.
Yeah,
sorry,
fair.
guys. Here you go.
That's fair. Yeah. But no, it seems like not much happened, and we will get into all that didn't happen. I think first I would love to just talk with you about like what just went down, because the big one right now is that the Pacers sent Zubac out, which now, I mean, it looks like Kawhi is staying, so I guess you can't ever like really count them out of being bad. But with no Harden, no Zubac, I mean, the Clippers have to be they have to bottom out to some degree, right?
I would assume so. He's also probably getting suspended for the year for his tree planting controversy.
They might know.
What was the issue? He planted too many trees. Was that it?
Yeah, he was too.
I gotta be honest. I know the gist of what happened. I kind of lost track of that a while ago. Something about trees. How they don't like trees.
The whole tree planting company was fake. And it was just laundering money and saying that it cost $12 to plant a tree when it costs like 12 cents to plant a tree. And so trees were planted, right? I think some trees were planted, but it was at an egregious rate.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, the Clippers don't have their pick. It's going to go to the Thunder, and now it's going to look worse. I know Darius Garland and Benedict Mathurin, who they're getting back, are pretty decent players, but both have been pretty in and out of the lineup and hurt, and they're not James Harden, and they're not Zubac. Yannick Conan Niederhauser is going to get a lot of run now. So
yeah, Batum's going to get 40 minutes a game.
Exactly. Die on the court. So I think that's one more team in the West that like we have no reason not to be ahead of.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And I thought 10th was.
However, there's a chance we find a way.
We might find a way to ruin all this. We'll get to that a little bit later.
Wait, so really quick, let me think about the Clippers lineup, because it's going to be Garland, Mathurin, Kawhi. Who are they going to be running at center?
Yannick Conan Niederhauser.
Is that really good?
And Brook Lopez. That's all they have right now.
Oh, Brook Lopez. Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's still.
It's an incomplete team. Speaking of incomplete teams, Anthony Simons to the Chicago Bulls, who didn't get rid of. I mean, they got rid of Io and Sexton, but they brought in Dillingham, Anthony Simons, they got rid of DeSumo and Kobe White, but they brought in Sexton, Anthony Simons, Rob Dillingham, who are all also very small guards, two of whom are on expiring contracts. I have no idea what the Bulls are doing. I think it's the most hilarious way to pull off a tank I've ever seen. Is you're like, here, Billy Donovan, here's 10 guys 6'6" and under try to win. I dare you.
Their tallest guy is 6'9", right? Is that what I saw?
And I think it's like what's his name? Like Ulrich. I forget what his name is. His name is something ridiculous.
I don't remember.
Not
I
his
saw
name.
it as like
Sorry,
a
I don't mean to slander his name. I mean he's a player that I've never even heard of in my life. I'll go pull up.
What's a dorky white guy, right?
Yeah.
We could be running a team of. This is basically Bulls are running Neil Olshey's dream.
Just CJs and Dames everywhere.
Their tallest player is.
It's locked.
Wait, did they get Nick Richards?
Oh, they did get Nick Richards. Oh, they got Nick Richards. Yeah. Oh, wow. ESPN is on top of that. Okay,
yeah.
So the Bulls did get rerouted a center who couldn't get any run on the Phoenix Suns. So Nick Richards and Lachlan Ulbrich, welcome to 25 minutes a night.
As Blazer fans, I'm kind of bummed right now with the lack of moves. But on the other hand, the Bulls are running 5'7" Yuki Kawamura at center.
Yeah.
So we should.
I mean,
there's reason for hope.
If nothing else, take away from the fact that sadly Anthony Simons has to be the one of 7 6'3" guards on an expiring contract on the Bulls. So at least we're not the Bulls. At least we're not Anthony Simons. I think we could take that away.
Do you think he starts on that team?
No, I think Anthony probably does come off the bench. They probably start Colin Sexton.
Yeah. And that's the thing I see. It shows up because I infamously have incredible bias in favor of Anthony Simons. I still think he's the right team away from being an absolute megastar.
Yeah.
But
well, the Celtics had nothing.
Then I look, I'm like,
yeah, the Celtics had nothing. The Celtics had nothing but great things to say about him on the way out.
Jaylen Brown was in tears.
I know. So was Xavier Tillman. Their kids are.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Anthony and Xavier Tillman's kids are best friends now. Anthony fit in like they're so well, and they just said nope. But goodbye.
That's so bizarre. I mean, I kind of get it. I guess Vucevic fits that team a bit better. But are they trying to win this season? I mean, I know they have the record where it's like they should think that they are, but is that the plan that they're going to have Tatum come back and kind of run that squad with Vucevic as their new big?
I think so. I think it's like Vucevic solves more of a problem, gives them a good backup center, and it's like basically if Tatum I think it's like if Tatum comes back, he's just going to take all of Anthony's minutes anyways.
Yeah.
And if Tatum doesn't come back, then they're like, well, we probably can't win the title anyways, so might as well just make a move that makes more sense if Tatum comes back, Well, that seems like, I mean, those were just kind of a couple things that rattle off my head of trade deadline news that maybe pertain to the Blazers. Otherwise, I mean, you had the big ones. AD's gone. I guess that hurts the Mavericks, but not right now because he wasn't even playing anyways.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Kuminga,
I feel bad for Anthony, dude. I feel bad for him.
I feel bad for Anthony.
It kind of bugged me that he spent the last couple of years here being like, I want to be on a winning team.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, dude, then contribute to winning.
Play some defense.
Yeah, exactly. Then he goes to the Celtics. He's in a spot where it seems like everyone loves him. He loves his role. He seemed happy as their sixth man, and now he's been sent to what I'm assuming
purgatory.
Is recurring nightmares of Neil Olshey roster construction. It's tough.
Yeah. So, I don't know. He'll probably just kind of coast the rest of the year, try to do the best he can and build himself some value, but it's so hard in that situation. So
Cam Thomas waived.
Cam Thomas waived. That means he's a free
agent. Yeah.
The Bulls.
The Bulls
could use Cam Thomas.
The Bulls are, yes. Finally, the big fish has landed.
Yeah. A pretty eventful trade deadline all around, but not as eventful for the Blazers as I think we all hoped it would, but I think every year kind of goes like this for us, at least under the Cronin era. I kind of forget more how trade deadlines went under Olshey, but Cronin has done little bits and pieces here and there, and I do think the Krecji move was great, and we outlined that last time, but again, I can't wait to see the press conference where he goes, yeah, just nothing materialized that we liked.
I know.
So we didn't do anything and we moved on. And he acts like that was the right play. But again, I don't know. It's just another opportunity to do something and to improve that goes away. And in hindsight now, the offseason looks, I don't even want to address the trades themselves, but it looks like we didn't even do that much in the offseason now. Like when you add in this trade deadline in the last offseason, we haven't really done all that much. It's add Dame, swap Anthony in for Drew, and draft Hansen, basically.
Yeah.
And then now a deadline goes, we add Krecji, swap for Duop. Again, I think that's a great move, and that should help. But now this team carries on, and we don't know what to do with Sidy and Caleb. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So
I know. I kind of wish the Vit trade happened like within the last hour. Because if that happened, I'd be like, "Oh, dude, what a successful trade deadline!
We pulled this off. This was a great move."
This off. But it happened a couple days ago, so I'm like, "This trade deadline sucks." But actually, it was like you said, we got someone who we have both been enticed by for a year now, which we think that's going to be a really big pickup. It was a rough first game for him, at least shooting wise. I was happy because I felt like he showed his capabilities on basically every single other,
part of the
factor
game
on the floor. Yeah. He showed that he can be a good defender. His passing looked nice. It's just like he just needs the shots to fall, which it is. Is it the very tiniest bit mildly concerning that he shot like 30% over the last 15 games and then comes here and shoots 1 of 6?
I think that
tiniest bit.
It's not something you want to see, but he has 2.5 full seasons of 40% from 3 under his belt.
Correct.
I think he has earned it for at least the if he's shooting like 30% or below from 3 for the rest of the season, then I'll probably start to feel a little worried. But no, I think it's fine. I think he felt a little hesitant in that game. Just being a new spot, he didn't want to shoot that many threes, but it's like, dude, you're better than everyone on this team at shooting threes. Shoot the 3. We love to shoot the 3. You can shoot the 3. So
I don't know. There's always one trade every trade deadline that makes me mad.
Sure.
And did you have one this week where you're like, why the hell didn't we do that?
Because
there's one that immediately came to my mind, and immediately I was like, why did we not do that?
I don't think I have one off the top of my head. I honestly think that the Vit one would have been, if we didn't trade with Atlanta for either Vit or Luke Kennard, I would have been pretty upset for both of those guys to be on the market and not to get them. But we did trade for Vit, and I think I would rather have Vit than Luke Kennard based on the contracts and the fact that we have Vit for longer under cheaper. So I ultimately do think that was one of the better moves. But what's the one that comes to your mind?
I wanted Jaren Jackson Jr. so bad.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
I wanted him so badly, and I didn't even really believe that he was fully on the market, which people were saying he was, but I was like, why would they trade him and not Ja? Supposedly that's very possible.
Yeah.
I can't think of a power forward that's better to pair next to Klingit. That would be better for this team if we really are serious about having a defensive identity, which honestly I'm not sure we really are under Tiago. You know what I mean?
We have no idea what identity we want to be right now.
Yeah, we don't. I wouldn't say anymore that we're like a defensive focused team.
Yeah.
Not that we're not trying to be. Every team is trying to be a good defensive team, but last season and under Chauncey, it did seem like that was the one and only matter of importance, was being an elite defensive team.
Yeah.
And it worked. We were second in the NBA in the second half of the season. But given what was given up for a 26-year-old defensive player of the year, it upsets me when I know for a fact that we could offer much more. I, without a doubt, would have offered one of our Bucks picks for Jaren Jackson Jr.
Right.
I mean, I know people are like, oh, he's not a good rebounder, but it's like, I mean, he's a 20 point per game scorer who was a defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
Like, I can't think of a guy that would, like I've said, I feel like we're one, not like superstar away, but just one more like really, really good player away from having a really legit core.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons I wanted, Trey Murphy so bad, because it's like, oh, just having one more certified good, because we like Shaden, we like Scoot. There's huge question marks on them still. I wanted one more guy that I knew there was no question marks on.
Yeah.
And to me, that was Trey Murphy or Jaren Jackson Jr. And it's frustrating that it's one of those moves that when Cronin gives his spiel about, oh, nothing materialized that we liked, I'm going to be like, dude, well, there's a defensive player of the year who we could have easily had a much better package for.
Sure.
So I don't know. But it's hard to say, because maybe they didn't want to trade with us, blah, 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 blah.
Sure. I mean, there's always so many reasons, and we're never not going to know everything. But I do agree we could have put a better package out there than what the Jazz gave. I do agree that Jaren would fit very beautifully next to Clingan as a 4, and I know that that would have been a good move, because that's exactly what the Jazz are trying to do with Walker Kessler, Jaren Jackson Jr., Lowry at their 3. That would be Denny for us.
Well, that's why it's frustrating. They feel like a bad version of what we are, yet they made the move that we need to make.
Right. I see what you're saying. They feel like, I mean, that we could have put that same team together, but you're just swapping Clingan for Kessler, Denny for Lowry. We'll call it Scoot for Keontae or Dame for Keontae, even if we're talking next year. And then I think our depth is better beyond that once you start talking about Shaden and whatnot. So you're seeing the Jazz made the all-in push, take a couple of picks, and improve for next year, when they're still like in tank mode, and I know they have a lot of assets, but I think that was kind of the rest of their assets to trade, and we have this big pool of the Bucks picks, obviously. I do think that if we did give up the Bucks assets, based on everything that I've seen, everyone would freak out at trading for Jaren Jackson Jr. and using those Bucks assets, because there's the line of like what level star are any of those picks worth, and I personally think that line was set way too high by everyone in the Blazer fan base. Like, it needs to be like a top 15, top 10 player that we even consider moving that stuff for. And
Jaren Jackson's pretty close to that.
Jaren Jackson Jr. is
had an off year on a terrible team, and everyone's like, and his value is tanked in people's eyes. It's Jaren Jackson.
Yeah.
He was the best defender. He was the best defender in the NBA 2 years ago.
Right.
And he puts up 20 points a game. It is, how rare is it to find a guy who's that elite on defense, who's also a scorer? It's like, God, dude, that's the kind of thing we should be kind of going all in on.
Yeah. I'm a lot more in the camp that those Buck swaps have a good chance of their highest value being right this moment, in us being able to get something out of them now. It's not a guarantee that it will at all. Obviously, all of those picks in theory could be number 1 picks, but I just think that there's a good chance if that the right deal was out there, we shouldn't not budge on them. And I think Jaren Jackson Jr. is a great example of a type of deal that if we could have cashed in on those now to get a solid player under contract for a long time with a roster that we know is building, we can trade for him now, hopefully build up his assets later, and then if it all falls apart, we can trade players later down the line, right? Like, when we get this asset, it doesn't mean we can't cash them out for something else later. But putting Jaren Jackson Jr. in would have felt like a great fit. We still would have had some assets down the line, even if it was a Bucks swap or two that we did. If we held on to it because we find so much value in them, sure. But we're playing a risky game is kind of how I'm starting to feel about this whole thing. But who knows? Maybe Giannis will completely grease the Bucks and leave in free agency, and then we have a terrible, terrible Bucks team for 3 years, and we get to cash those in. You never know how it's gonna work. But yeah. Jaren Jackson Jr. would have been fun. I agree.
I know I'm always every trade. I mean, it's the same thing every single year, but I'm always conflicted about how to react to trade deadlines. Because if I'm upset, or if you're upset as a Blazer fan, it's like I 100% get it, because I'm frustrated right now. But it's also acting under the idea that there were good deals that Cronin just said no to, which when you think about logically, that seems super unrealistic.
Nah.
when he says there's nothing he liked out there, he's probably right.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Is it still frustrating that he wasn't able to maybe convince or find a way to upgrade the team in a serious way? Sure, but it's hard to know when we have no idea what was actually on the table.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's frustrating to see other teams improve. But also, we don't know if there was any actual viable options for us to improve that dramatically. So it's one of those things you just kind of go,
yeah,
I don't know.
Move on.
I have no idea. I have no clue. You're allowed to be frustrated for sure, but also we have no idea what the options were, like what we missed out on, or if we missed out on anything at all. It's more likely we didn't miss out on anything at all. And there truly was, I doubt there was a world where, they're like, do you guys want to do SGA for Caleb Love in some seconds? And we're like, no, we want to build around Caleb.
14 games in a row with 10 points.
Exactly.
SGA 100 games with 20 points.
Exactly. Yeah. But that's why it's tough. It's tough to know. It's understandably frustrated, but it's tough to know what exactly we would be frustrated about.
What if you had to give the Blazers and Cronin a grade for this trade deadline, what would you give them?
Well, again, I think we've been it's been marred. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah.
By Vit being traded for 3 days ago.
Yeah.
It's because that didn't feel like the deadline. That felt like the trade. I don't know.
Week.
I can't think of anything clever.
Weekend.
Yeah, the trade weekend. That's funny. B. Yeah, I think we made a tangible upgrade in V. I think I really like him, and we did it for nothing. We got basically for free a guy who I think is going to be a really good, important player for us.
Yeah.
But it's still frustrating to see that Jaren Jackson move and to see a team that's worse than us, that is built very similarly, make a move that you wish we would have made. So B minus B.
I think I will shade higher. I will go B plus. Because I think it was an objectively good move. And like if you did nothing on a trade deadline, I think that would be like a C, right? If your team stood pat and you didn't sell or anything. I think most trades you can argue are good for both teams. I don't know. I think that V trade was so overwhelmingly good that I would give it a pretty good grade of like an AA plus for us and brings us up to a B plus. I just think that the problem, and we'll get into the team now, I think the problem is that the hanging on to Jeremy, the trading for Drew, those trades are starting to the not moving Jeremy, keeping Drew. There's things that Joe Cronin has done in the past that in my head right now are starting to slide. And the fact that we didn't do anything with them is starting to worry me.
That is my issue as well, is that I feel like this was, and maybe I'll be wrong about this. Maybe, Drew's interest he'll have a great second half of the season and his interest will grow. But it feels like, given how he's been playing, this could potentially be the peak of his value to other teams.
Yeah.
Where he's had that solid start to the season. He was hurt. He's been playing really poorly since then. Honestly, he wasn't playing that great before he got hurt as well.
Yeah.
But there still seems to be a lot of buzz about teams wanting him. It's very risky if he continues to play this poorly or if he gets hurt, where all of a sudden we have a $50 million contract that has become virtually untradeable. I think it was probably the highest peak for Jeremy as well, even though we've had like 3 years of that. I still really like Jeremy. I still personally want him on this team.
Yeah.
More and more I'm understanding why people might want to let him go. But I still like Jeremy a lot. I think he's played more. I actually think he's been better than Drew overall this season.
Yeah, I can get behind that. At least to their definitely to their expectations at the least.
Sure.
The expectations for Drew were very high and the expectations for Jeremy were very low, and Jeremy has I think gone up overall in his trade value, and Drew has decreased with the injury combined with the recent play for sure.
And also for me, and this is not going to be popular, I still think Sharp is a coin flip on the player he, becomes. I still think he could become a really great player. I also still think it's possible that he is going to prove to be more of a sixth man, which would be completely fine. I'd be completely happy with that. But I also think if we were to ever, because as we've talked about, to make a big move, you have to trade guys that you don't really want to trade. Shaden's the guy I don't really want to trade, but he has currently the most tantalizing prospect talent for other teams that we have on this team. I hope this is not a moment where like, dang, I wish we kind of capitalized on trading Shaden's potential for a legitimate upgrade who is more of a sure thing. But I'm hopeful that we'll be glad that we didn't and that he'll prove to be that true second option that we're all hoping he can be.
Yeah.
But I just would have liked sometimes with this team, because like I said, I don't want to trade Shaden, but I kind of wish that we just made a risky move every now and then. Just one.
Yeah.
One where it's like, oh, we traded Shaden Sharp to get this legitimate all-star.
Yeah. I think that
we traded the potential for someone who's currently better.
I think that we have, with this team for a couple of years now, it's just settling over and over like, okay, we're just kind of keeping guys and hoarding talent and waiting till the picture becomes crystal clear of what's going to happen. And it's just one more deadline that we have to go, all right, I guess we're playing Drew and Scoot and Dame's coming back. Like, it's just one more checkpoint in the timeline of the NBA where we now have to go, okay, like what's, I don't know. I don't really know what the full plan is here, but I guess Cronin has something he's thinking of. So yeah, I agree with you that one big trade to kind of smooth everything out and be like, these are the 9 guys for the future. This is the team that's going to work together. This is, we're going to go for it all the way this year, like, or next year. I don't know. This was an opportunity for clarity and we didn't get it, but I agree that I don't think we can fully knock Cronin for doing that. I think that you have to just accept that since the fate of our team is in his hands, that there truly wasn't a deal that was good enough to make on the table. And I think he has earned, as of late, enough credit and enough deals that I think we have thought are good on paper or when they happen, that we can accept that they are looking out for that best interest and they're not being hasty with their decisions.
Yeah, because like we said, that Vit trade happened 30 minutes ago. I'd be giving this trade deadline an A.
Yeah, right. Just come down. All right, that's the other thing is I think everyone is so antsy for just moves, and that's part of what fuels my decision to be like, let's trade all the swaps for Jaden McDaniels right now. I don't care because I'm just bored. I'm like, give it to me.
Like, it is weird. Like we are craving the ADHD fueled dopamine rush of a
and Cronin's like, can you all please relax? Like, holy shit. So yeah, but all that being said of our wants and wishes and how we think the team should be designed, there is a glaring problem in front of us now that there are more players that we like to play than we have spots for right now. And so to me, between Sidy, Caleb, Rupert, Chris Murray, I think 2 of these players have to be done being Blazers for the rest of this season. I don't know which route that goes. My guess is that with Scoot coming back, Caleb's going to get pushed to the G League, and I think we're going to cut Rupert for Sidy.
I assume with Scoot coming back that, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong about this, but if they don't play another game, we don't have to get them for full contract, right?
They can sit in the Sidy and Caleb can sit in the G League.
Yeah.
And just play with them. They get less money, but they can just sit there for the rest of the year, and then we can wait. but I do think City is too important to the rotation at this moment for that to be okay.
You know what? I think I disagree. I think I really like City. I mean, he's been playing awesome lately.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's quite at the level yet where he's guaranteed this is a guy we still cannot play. Because what I was surprised with at the Suns games, I still thought Caleb would see a good amount of minutes on the floor.
Yeah.
He barely played.
Yeah.
He played 8 minutes and took 2 shots.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, wow. It was like kind of a reminder that I think in Thiago's eyes, those guys are pretty
rough.
Yeah, and not even just rough, but raw.
Yeah.
Replaceable.
Yeah.
Guys who they don't see, or not replaceable, guys who they don't see as when this team is healthy, are they guys who are guaranteed minutes. They're still not at that level yet. Because we're honestly now with Vit on the team, I think we're just Denny coming back from City, also basically being out of the rotation.
That's pretty true. And Scoot. Because Scoot's
and Scoot. Yeah, exactly, dude. When Scoot's back, I don't think Caleb might not see another minute for the rest of the season.
I guess Scoot can, like, in theory, at least to start before he's like finally back into it, just fit the City combined with Caleb role of like take 8 shots and play hard defense.
Yeah.
Like
I want to see Scoot start, dude. I'm such a like weirdly a Scoot believer. Yeah. It's proof that like if you just give it enough time and you get Anthony Simons off the team, that I'll all of a sudden see anyone as a star player.
Yeah.
Because God, you watch this team and Scoot in theory is such a better fit than Drew. And that's not a knock on Drew, but these last few games have been rough. And I think, as I talked about this on the last video, or maybe it was 2 videos ago, that I think Drew's a Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer. He's still a very good player. I'm not denying that at all. But when really good players get to a certain age, I feel like they're seen, because of their age and because of their track record, as being these incredibly reliable, consistent guys who always make the right play, always make the right move.
Yeah.
Drew has been a guy throughout his career who offensively has been a bit of a ball stopper, has made some kind of consistently not great decisions, who has been a really streaky shooter. I feel like since he's old nowadays, one of the better guards of the last 15 years, people assume he has this like, and we've made this comparison, or at least I've made this comparison, that he's later career Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Drew has always been kind of a ball stopper, kind of a hucker, and kind of made bad decisions offensively. That's how he's always been as a player. And it still hasn't changed. Him being old and wise has not changed that. And not only that, but he's kind of a slower paced player.
Yeah.
I would like us to play slower paced. You would like us to play slower paced. It's clearly not going to happen under Thiago Splitter.
Yeah.
Not only that, but we clearly need someone at point guard who is going to move the ball. Drew, despite his early season assist numbers being really high, even earlier in the season, from the first game of the season, the very first game against the Timberwolves, we kind of lost that game because Drew took over the fourth.
Yeah.
We saw it happen against the Suns. We kind of see it every single time we're in a close game and Drew is in the fourth. He kind of becomes the leader of the offense. Is that Drew to blame? Is that Thiago to blame? Not sure, but it's consistently not worked, and it's consistently not really worked for the majority of Drew's career. Yeah. It's why the Celtics didn't use him that way.
Sure.
The Celtics used him as a 3-and-D guy who was not a primary ball handler.
Right. So you're saying that Scoot coming in would replace him in those spots, and then Drew could maybe shift in theory to that 3-and-D player?
Correct.
Okay. I will say to that point, it's not like Scoot has exactly thrived in closing games, not turning the ball over, making the right read. I think he has moved the ball decently well. But if anything, it's like we have 2 guys. One guy's who's at the end of his prime, we hope he's. We have two guys, one guy very young, one guy very old, and they do a lot of the same things, and neither are in their prime anymore. And
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
hoping that maybe Drew is a little bit more in his prime and has a little bit more juice before Scoot can get there.
yeah.
And hopefully the worst case scenario is not that Drew has taken a nosedive and fallen off and Scoot is very far from ready, because then we're in a little bit of a tight situation. I agree with you that, yes, if Scoot can come in and rock, then he can take that spot and it'll be good. And Drew can easily slide into like 3-and-D, help, maybe 25 minutes off the bench instead of closing games 30, 32 minutes. Like, I think that can totally work. And I agree with you. I'm very excited for Scoot to come back to hopefully fill that role. We haven't seen enough of Scoot for me to be like totally convinced that that's going to happen when he does come back. I think
especially given that he hasn't played professional basketball in almost a year.
Yes.
It's been 11 months almost.
Yeah.
Since he's played an NBA game. I mean, that's like missing an entire year of basketball.
It's a lot.
That's
of time.
Wild.
Yeah.
But if we're talking, what I love about Scoot, and because it's not just like, oh, I think Scoot's going, I don't think it's going to be, like you said, I don't see it as he's going to replace Drew. I see it as that we can use Scoot more in Drew's current role and use Drew more like the Celtics did as a 3-and-D player.
I like that.
And what I really like about Scoot, I've been saying this since the day we got Drew, and we both talked about this, is that what's awesome is that idealistically, obviously, like in a best case, best world scenario, you can play Drew and Scoot together.
Yeah.
I really love the idea of Scoot at point guard, Drew's playing at the 2.
2 guard, yeah.
I've always liked that. I always thought that made a lot of sense. It gives us, and then using Shaden as either the 6th man or, I want him as the 6th man.
With that, Shaden has to be the 6th man. We are too small. We are not good. There's Tumani and Klingon cannot make up for what those, because that's the other thing you're talking about is like Drew in theory is a great defender who can guard threes, but he has not been showing enough good defense, enough like just awareness, dude. Like he's not closing out well. He's not in the right passing lanes. Like I think in theory, like a 2019 Drew with Shaden and Scoot can work in theory. But a 2026 Drew, Shaden, and Scoot is getting. I mean, we're already getting devoured on defense, anyways. So, like, I guess what do we have that much to lose? But I agree with you. It's there's definitely not all 3 of Scoot, Drew, Shaden on the floor at once. That's a revolving door of the 2 of them in the backcourt, or the 3 of them in the backcourt for 2 spots.
And at this, I still don't. I mean, like I said, I still don't know if Shea is going to be the starter on this team. Like I said, he easily could be. We still don't know that quite yet. But I think that would be an immediate defensive upgrade if Scoot is the defender that we hope he can be. That's why I love Scoot so much. I think you can pair a lot more guys next to him. I even believe, because like we've talked about this, one of the concerns with Shaden is as much as we like him, next season, you cannot pair him next to Dame.
Yeah.
It's just the worst case defensive scenario. Dame is a guy, this is not a knock on Dame because this is true for a lot of incredible scoring guards. You have to surround them with defenders. And Shaden still is a really negative defender. And if you disagree with that, I sometimes feel like we're watching a different game.
If you disagree, I'm going to be honest. If you disagree with that, I think you're wrong. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to flat out say it. I think his on-ball stuff has gotten a little bit better, but his
passing lane steals have gotten way better.
And if that is one part of defense that is cool, but I think it's a much smaller part of defense than I think we should, because I don't want to nix your Dame Shaden backcourt idea, but I do agree with that. But I want to hyper talk about that last Suns game, and I think Shaden is a good talking point with that, because there were so many times in that game, and to me Shaden is at the peak of this, but I don't, because there's a lot of people out there that think people in general are pick on Shaden more than other guys when other guys like Drew and Jeremy do bad things. All three of those guys, basically everyone in that Suns game the other night, did really terrible things. But I want to use Shaden because I just think he epitomizes the like laziness, the not like lack of effort in certain spots. Like I think sometimes he's locked in, and this has just been the case with him for forever. I think sometimes he's locked in, sometimes he's clearly not. I tweeted out, I think he's maybe the worst transition defender in the entire NBA because he does this.
What I've seen.
He does this thing where he's the one getting back on defense, and then he's like near the guy who's running back and the ball, and he'll just stop at the middle of the court, the exact center of the court, and see if there's maybe a steal somewhere to be had when there's not. And then all of a sudden you've just not gotten back on defense. And then Colin Gillespie gets the ball, and then he passes back to Grayson Allen, and then you go for this weird little limp pump fake that Grayson Allen does, and then he hits a three right in your eye. I also don't know if you saw the one. It's like one of the last threes Colin Gillespie hit. I think maybe the last one.
That's all I was just going to talk about.
It was I'll let you get into it. It was a cartoonishly bad closeout by Shaden.
Yeah.
It looked like it was out of a video game where like someone hit the jump for the ball button and you like froze in the air.
I was 50 feet away from that. I luckily had incredible tickets to that game. That was the play where I heard the entire arena groan. It was not like disappointed that obviously we're disappointed that Gillespie hit that three, but it was oh my gosh, like towards Shaden of like, what are it live? It was hilarious. Yeah. Like when you brought that up, I immediately knew exactly the play you were talking about because it was like, it's a weird word choice. It was startling.
Yeah.
It was startling to see that, like you said, it was like a cartoon. It's like he was trying to fake what effort would look like.
Yeah.
And it's whatever if you fall for the pump fake. That's not even the part that really bothered me. Fall for the pump fake all you want. But the stopping after you fall and just slowly turning around to watch him shoot.
Yeah.
Was it shows the difference between watching it live sometimes and, watch on TV. Because I saw mostly a lot of people really defending Shaden after that game. In the arena watching live, the majority of people thought that Shaden was really disappointing that game. And it was much different when I came home and looked at what people were seeing online. And it was because of plays like that, which, like you said, it's like inexcusable kind of stuff, dude. And you see it with Thiago. I was close enough that I could see the actual visible reactions of the coaches when things like that were happening. It was when Shea got obliterated by that screen, I think in the second quarter.
Yeah, the one he fell over
and literally fell to the ground. And Thiago calls a timeout right after, and Thiago does like like fingers in, like, yes, like really was doing this and like muttering obscenities to himself as he called the timeout, clearly upset at Shaden.
Yeah,
and I think what a lot of people would say is that and I get where they're coming from with this, that they feel Shaden is unfairly targeted when other guys are doing the same thing.
Yeah, because I want to bring up before I'll let you keep going, but I do think the counter to what we just said is that Drew had a abysmal turnover that led to that Gillespie three, and kind of put Shaden in a bad spot, which I get.
100%.
Like he should be flamed for that too. There's also one where Jeremy also fell down trying to get around a screen, in a similar fashion. So like Jeremy also is contributing to these bad things. So I don't want those to be like forgotten and ignored. But I don't think that excuses what we're saying about Shaden at all. I don't think that because they did that, his flaws are there. And I don't think that because Shaden went 7 for 12 and hit some nice buckets and created more offense than the other guys.
7 of 18, right?
Yeah. 7 of 18 sounds right. Yeah.
7 of 16.
7 of 16. That's, I think, what I meant to say. Just because he went 7 of 16 and put some stuff in on the other end doesn't mean we can't say bad things about him. I just want to be upfront about that. But keep going.
but other people are right that other guys deserve it. The vitriol should not be targeted entirely at Shaden because, like you're saying, I think Drew was probably worse than Shaden during that game. Drew in general, dude. I just put up these stats because I know we kind of mentioned this, that it's not just since Drew's come back that he's been struggling. If you look at the last 16 games, he got off to that hot start it looks like the first 6 or 7 games of the season. If you look at him since then, in the last 16 games, this goes back to when he played on November 3rd. So after October, that's kind of like since November. He's putting up 12.9 points, 5.8 assists, and 4.3 rebounds on 41-34 shooting. So this is kind of like mildly in defense of Shaden in a way, is that, and understanding where people's frustrations are coming from. They feel other guys are not getting the same criticism. Everyone talks about how inefficient of a shooter Shaden is. Drew is shooting worse from the field and has a worse true shooting percentage than Shaden this year. A guy who's supposed to be like an elder, wise, reliable in every way option. He's been more efficient and a worse offensive player than Shaden, while being what we think pretty disappointing defensively. But that isn't to excuse, just because that's true, just because other guys are playing poorly, that should not excuse. So I understand when people are like, other guys deserve criticisms as well. But to me, it's a difference of what these games look like what a bad Shaden game looks like versus what a bad Jeremy game looks like. Because to me, a bad Shaden game was, these huge lapses defensively where he shoots inefficiently and doesn't really contribute to the game in other ways. He finished with 1 rebound and 1 assist. And these are games where we want to see him take over that role and show that he's a true second option, and show that he can create on his own and can be kind of that low-level all-star caliber player without Denny playing. To me, a bad Jeremy game, because like people have talked about, they did very similar bad things, but Jeremy was still able to put up, 23 points a game, 4 assists on efficient scoring. So it's just that it sometimes feels like in order for Shaden to be like a positive, he needs to put up 27 points a game on 50% shooting. We want to see him be able to be a positive in ways where it doesn't just solely rely on his scoring, which is why I think that's where some of the criticism comes from.
Yeah, because it feels like that has almost never happened. And with Jeremy's kind of like that. They're very similar players, and I was telling you about this right before we hopped on, but like I need to check the numbers, but I'm very curious to see what their on-off together is like, because they are very similar. Like, take the ball stopper, try to go get a bucket, and they get them in different ways. Jeremy is elite at getting to the free throw line, and Shaden is elite at like scoring off an advantage. And I don't want them. I want them to be play finishers, and I don't want them to be in these spots. And unfortunately, they have to be. But I agree with you that like Jeremy at least, I think, has had some monster shooting from 3 nights. Shaden has had them too. I see your point, and I think I will agree that like they're maybe pretty like they're very similar players. I think is the realization I'm kind of having at this moment.
To me, I think it more is what looks like laziness from Shea. I don't personally see a lot of laziness from Jeremy. I think you disagree with that. I think it just seems more egregious from Shea. And the coaching staffs of this team and last year's team seem to agree with that. They seem to be more outwardly frustrated with Shaden's effort defensively than they are with Jeremy. And I am too. And I don't know if that's like a bias I have, but because a lot of people seem to disagree with that. And I think, like I said, you might too, that I see more effort on Jeremy's side defensively.
I see more. I don't think it's a ton more. I'll be real. I don't think the gap is huge. And I have agreed that Jeremy has been a solid defender, and he was when our defense was good for that stretch last year. There are a ton of numbers that say we are a worse defensive team when Jeremy's on the court, and the more I really look hard at it, the more I start to see it. So I just think that I weirdly think they just can't coexist. I think that's my kind. Like, I don't know if we can have both a Jeremy and a Shaden at the same time. And it's just a theory that I'm starting. This is a take that I'm beginning. But
I agree, but I feel that way about a lot of guys with Shea.
yes,
We can't
I
play
think,
Dame with him.
yeah,
We can't play Jeremy with him.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that Jeremy has shown that he cannot be that guy before in his career, and he just looks more like that recently. And
Exactly.
Shaden has never shown that before in his career because he's so young, and we need him to show that. Right?
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Because I know people they got there's too much bias towards vets in the NBA. Like younger guys are on a shorter leash. And the reason for that is because, like you said, Jeremy has years of proof that he can be what we want him to be.
Yeah.
It's not only about what did you do last, it's who has the best chance of doing this better going forward.
Right.
Even if they're both doing things bad or poorly right now,
yes.
Who has the better chance of doing it going forward? And you'd rather give it to the guy who has years of proof that he can do that more so than the guy who has none.
Yes. But we want the guy who is getting older and supposedly getting better, getting older in a good way, and getting better to be the one to do that, because that's the best case for that team. So that's why we're harder
to see it. We want to see it. You know what I mean?
That's why we're harder on Shaden and not on Jeremy, because Jeremy feels more so of a lost cause. And I don't want to call him a lost cause, but you know what I mean. Like,
I know what you mean.
If both of them are not going to do it going forward, then it's worse that Shaden didn't do it because he didn't pan out and he could do it and get better at offense and those things. That's why we're harder on Shaden, because he's the younger guy, because he's the younger.
We need to see him progress.
It's better if Shaden is doing those things better. Whereas Jeremy, it can be like, okay, I guess he's just getting old, whatever, right?
Exactly.
So that's for anyone who's in the dark or doesn't understand why people are harder on Shaden, why we're harder on Shaden. That's why. That right there is why. With the last little bit of time that we have, I want to kind of do a 2-minute spiel of like, it's gonna be okay, because I think right now we could use that.
Yeah.
My argument. So like, the 6-game losing streak has been abysmal. We have been playing. Everyone's been playing poorly, and it's not just because Denny's out. Because like you saw the last game against the Suns, we hit a million threes, and the whole game I still was like, we're gonna lose. We're going to lose this game because we kept playing bad defense. And so the defense shouldn't go away when Denny goes away. All of that being said, as we kind of outlined with like, Zubac and Harden are gone from the Clippers. The Grizzlies traded away Jaren Jackson. Why would the Mavericks traded away AD? They want to tank. The Warriors lost Jimmy Butler. They did add Kristaps Porzingis. They're still trying to win. But Steph has his own injury problems. Everything around us right now is crumbling in the West. Like, there are 7 teams, the Suns and above, that are all good, and they're going to be really good, and they're going to be, hard outs in the playoffs. It's going to be an awesome West playoff. 8 and below is just begging to be taken. The 8 seed is, I feel so supremely confident that we are locked into the play-in, just based on the fact that we are in it at this moment. So, with all that being said, I think it's okay to understand that, yes, we're playing poorly, and to be mad and to be frustrated at what's happening. But take a second to look big picture, be like, I think we're still going to accomplish our goal of making the play-in. We're going to give this team, a meaningful basketball game that we can really assess, that we can really see who stepped up in a big moment that matters. The worst case, and I wouldn't even call it the worst case scenario, but one outcome is that we lose that first play-in game, and then we have a lottery ticket to an unbelievable draft. The other side of the coin is we win a game or two, and
which we give to the Bulls, right?
Which we give to the Bulls if we make the playoffs.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, if we make the playoffs, we give it to the Bulls. So then we either do that or go down into the lottery. We have a lottery ticket. We've seen what any lottery ticket can get you in the draft these days. Or we win a game or two, we make the playoffs, everyone gets experience. I see a lot of people saying, why does it matter to just get throttled by the Thunder? I understand that argument, and maybe having a lottery ticket in this draft is good when the other draft isn't as good next year from everything I'm hearing. Totally get that. But at the end of the day, you want to make the playoffs. Getting playoff experience is good for the next year. This team is ready to compete next year when we add Dame into the mix. You want that experience. You want to make the playoffs. It's fun. We all get to enjoy being back in the playoffs. We haven't been there. So to me, it's kind of a win-win either way. You can kind of just change how you feel about it. We feel like we're locked into the play, and again, that was our goal going into the season. I think it's all fine. I think we're honestly free-rolling this end of the year, and we're kind of just playing with house money, and losses improve our lottery odds, but wins get us closer to the playoffs, but we're going to have that opportunity no matter what. We just got to get healthy. We just got to prep for that part of the season. Let's integrate Scoot back. Let's get him feeling confident. Let's do whatever it takes to get Drew and Jeremy feeling good. All of that, I think we can just all take a breath and be like, okay, let's look towards April. We can actually look towards April.
I completely agree. 100%. I do not disagree with the thing you just said. Truly.
Yeah.
It's a fun time because we are locked into what the goal was for the season, like you said. And now we have, one of our most promising players coming back. Hopefully post All-Star break, Denny will be healthy. Best case scenario, Scoot looks great. Denny looks great because we see how bad we look without him. And we have a really exciting, good, solid end of the season. And if we do continue to kind of flop around like we are right now, and we're still going to make the play-in, and we will have a play-in game. And the most important thing that you said, the thing that I agree with the most, is why even if you're pro tanking for whatever reason, is that there is not going to be a better assessment of who we need to keep around, who's going to be important to this team, than playing in an actually incredibly important play-in game.
Yes.
That will be everything. Even if you want us to lose it, it is a prime opportunity to see who should stay, who needs to work on what. It's exactly what this young team needs.
Yeah.
So it's like either way, we're going to be completely fine.
Yeah.
Best case, and I'm leaning more towards the best case. I really believe in Scoot. I think he's going to be more what we need at the point guard position than Drew. I think we're going to be able to use Drew more as a 3-and-D guy that he should be. And I think a more healthy Denny coming after All-Star break with a fully healthy team, we're going to go back to being in what we were when we got to 500. I still think this is a team that could finish at 500 for the season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the negative part about the last 2 days is it does show how much we still need to build around Denny.
Yeah.
But the positive part is it shows just how good Denny is. So we kind of have that star player who can lift a team that loses 6 in a row without him, but is a 500 team with him.
Yeah.
Add Dame to that mix, add an improved Scoot. All of a sudden you have a really, really good team. So I still feel good about everything.
Yeah, I agree. I think just don't stop getting mad if players play poorly. I'm surely not. Like, still get on everyone. Don't be like, it's fine to lose. I think actually the opposite. Be mad that we didn't win a game. Be upset that we're not looking good. Because right now, this next coming 2 months, this post-All-Star break, is training for what we're telling you is a guaranteed play-in berth.
Yes.
So think of it like that. So don't think of the loss as like, oh, if we lose the game, we're screwed. Like, and I don't think many people are. I think actually more people are happier when the loss happens. So be okay with the loss if you want, but be hard and understand that right now these guys need to start looking good because they're going to have an opportunity in front of them, and if they squander it, then that's a bad look for moving forward.
And he said about Vit, we got a new guard who's going to be /forward, who's going to be, I think, really, really good.
Yeah.
As bad as it's been recently, it's hard to judge a team when you don't have their best player.
Exactly.
No matter, look at the Pacers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They went from championship team to one of the worst teams in the NBA. That's just kind of the impact that real star players have. So we should be happy that we have a star player who can make that kind of impact.
Yes.
And he's going to be coming back to a healthier, deeper team.
Yeah.
I feel really confident about the team going forward.
Yeah. So that's where we're at the trade deadline. A 6-game losing streak and adding one player. That's all we got on this Thursday. But Scoot comes back. I'm going to say I think tomorrow. I think he's going to make his debut in 2 pretty big games against the Grizzlies. That's the other thing is if we happen to lose 2 games to the Grizzlies, then it's like do they want the play-in from us? I don't know. We should definitely win these 2 games, and I think we
Yeah.
will. But Scoot's return,
I do too.
Vit getting incorporated, Denny gets healthy, things will turn. This is a low point in the season for sure in terms of the locker room, but I think we'll figure it out. So, otherwise, I don't got anything else. You got anything?
No, Blazers continue to be cool, which is
They're
nice.
still cool. The trade deadline.
They are still cool.
We didn't trade away the fact that the Blazers are cool, and as
No,
long as we
we
don't
kept
do
that.
we
might have re-signed the Blazers are cool to a max deal.
Yeah, I think we did. Well, we appreciate you guys listening. I know this one was kind of a ramble on, but we just had so much on our mind with the trade deadline and everything. Brad, do you want to give the shout out to the guy you met at the Blazer game?
Oh my God. Yeah, I forgot. Thank you for reminding me. The coolest moment maybe of my entire life is that my brother and I were walking after the game. We're walking back to our car, surrounded by a bunch of people. And this guy turns and looks at me and he smiles. He goes, Blazers are cool? And I'm like, yeah. He was, and I hope he's watching this, he was the coolest, nicest guy I've ever met in my life. I crumbled. I was hilariously, I like to see myself, this is a bit of a social butterfly,
sure,
if you will. But I somehow, obviously he wasn't starstruck, but I was starstruck. I got starstruck.
Right.
I got starstruck at the idea of just someone recognizing me. And I acted like I was, meeting LeBron.
Right.
And I was like, thanks for watching. So my brother said I did well because I was panicking and I think I need you in those moments to share in my awkwardness.
Right.
But he was the coolest. Please comment if that was you. You told me your username. I was panicking and forgot. Next time I see you at a game, I'll be much less awkward. I guarantee it.
We'll
but it was like, it was something, it was one word and then a blazer something. It was like I said, it was a conspicuous blaze. Like
Blaze
something
Blaze the Trail Cat one.
Yeah. But yeah, he was the coolest. He was the man. If you see Jethro and I at games, come and say hi. I loved it. It was a really cool moment. It made my brother incredibly jealous.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it made him really proud, which made me even more uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was awesome. It was great meeting you. You were the man.
Yeah.
You're way cooler than I am. I think that moment proved it. I was thank you.
Yeah. Well, know that you're our first real life interaction out in ADX, but we want more. We want to meet all you guys. We want to make this a community and a community of people who love the Blazers.
Because we have the best Blazer community, I think, going on right now. I really believe that.
It's happy vibes.
Like in terms of the people, and he said this. He's like, I just love your guys' positivity. He's like, I don't really agree with like half the things you say, and I was like, honestly, and I told him, I was like, I kind of a week after I say things, we don't agree with half the things you say. Exactly.
We just say it. We're just letting it go and workshop.
We just let it rip.
Yeah.
Everyone, and this is proof of that because I always feel like I sometimes get worried about giving certain takes on the show because I see what people say on Twitter and on Reddit, and I'm like, I don't want people to be mean to us.
Yeah, right.
But we never have that issue. People 99% of the time are incredibly cool, incredibly positive, and this real life interaction proved that. The people who, we watch our videos and who comment, like, you guys are awesome.
Yeah.
And it's one of the most positive and cool and just like real. It's all people who I feel like would be the same in real life. Because you see these people on Twitter, on Reddit, you're like, you're not like that in real life. You're just using the internet and the anonymity to like posture and be a dick.
Yeah.
It's cool to see real people who are actually cool comment on our videos and are even cooler in real life.
The difference in character between YouTube and Twitter is so stark. Like the amount of the different. I'm very deep in both of them, responding to your guys' comments and Twitter stuff. It's crazy. So I love being on here, and you guys make it that way by continuing to respond to our videos. So we appreciate all of you. Thank you for listening this far. If you did, remember if you listen this far and you haven't subscribed, I highly suggest you do because it'll help us feel good and make better content for you. So please drop a like.
It'll improve my self-confidence for future social interactions.
Yes, because that's what this is all actually about for us.
That's what it's all about. It's all about building lessening my social anxiety, apparently.
But otherwise, Blazers are cool, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
See ya.